want to start this podcast by saying something simple. Life, it doesn't need to hurt. Not as proof, not as payment, not as a requirement for growth. I know that might sound strange to some people, maybe even sound irresponsible, because a lot of us were taught directly or indirectly that if life isn't hard, we're doing something wrong. That ease means laziness. That rest means we are falling behind. That pressure is just a price we pay for caring. This podcast exists for people who are tired of doing life the hard way and are starting to wonder if there's another rhythm they might be allowed to trust. That's it. No hype, no urgency, just noticing. I don't think most of us choose the belief that life should hurt. I think we absorbed it. We watched people around us grind themselves down and get praised for it. We heard stories about sacrifice of being noble, burning out being normal, and exhaustion being the cost of ambition. If you were tired, you were committed. If you were stressed, you were serious. And if you weren't struggling, you learned to feel a little bit uneasy about it. Like maybe you weren't pushing hard enough. Or maybe you were missing something. So pain became impressive. Not because it felt good, because it meant you were doing it right. And that idea sneaks into everything we do, from work to parenting to relationships to even self-improvement. It becomes a background noise of your life. There's a difference between effort and punishment. Effort is intentional. Punishment is constant. Effort has a purpose. Punishment just proves you have endurance. Somewhere along the way, those two got blurred. And a lot of us didn't just learn how to show up. We learned how to override ourselves, to ignore signals, to push past the limits, and treat discomfort as if a moral test instead of information. And at first, that kind of pressure felt productive. Things move. You get results. You feel disciplined. But over time, something shifts. You're not choosing effort anymore. You're just surviving the momentum. And survival has a way of becoming a habit. Survival mode is useful in short bursts. But when it became our default or my default, it changes how you see everything. You stop asking whether something makes sense. You just ask whether, can I endure this or not? You stop listening to yourself. You stop trusting your own signals. Rest feels wrong. Stillness feels suspicious. Even when things are objectively good, you stay tense, like something's about to be taken away. And the hardest part, you don't call that stress. You call that responsibility. You still tell yourself, this is just what being an adult looks like. It's what caring looks like. It's what providing looks like. So you keep going. At some point, I started noticing something. Not dramatically, not all at once. Just little moments where I'd ask myself, why does everything feel that it's heavier than it needs to? Why is everything so heavy now? Why does progress always become, or why does progress always come in the form of self-criticism? Why does calm feel undeserved? And the more I paid attention, the clearer it became. A lot of what I thought was discipline was actually being hard on myself. A lot of what I thought was drive was fear. Fear of falling behind, fear of disappointing people, fear of slowing down and realizing I didn't know who I was without the pressure. Once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. So instead of asking, how do I push harder? I started asking, what actually needs pressure and what needs patience? That question changed things because not everything grows better under force. Some things need space. Some things need consistency instead of intensity. Some things need you to stop fighting yourself long enough to hear what's actually going on. That doesn't mean quitting. It doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means choosing a way of living that doesn't require constant self-punishment to function. This podcast isn't about rejecting effort or responsibility. It's about questioning why so much of our life has been built around the unnecessary suffering. Why we've confused pain with progress. Why we've treated exhaustion like a proof of character. And why we've made things harder than we need to, and then blamed ourselves for the struggling. Life doesn't need to hurt. And if that sentence makes you uncomfortable, that's okay. You don't need to resolve the day. You just need to notice. That's all this space is for. Not answers, not fixes. Just noticing what happens when you stop doing life the hard way and start listening for a different rhythm. We'll keep noticing together. And these conversations are part of a longer body of work I'm writing called Life Doesn't Need to Hurt. It's not a motivational book, just a quiet one. If you want to stay with this longer, that's where we're going.